Another good look at the Spyderco Tenacious under HD this time. Hi guys, Nutnfancy here, banging out another review. What a great knife this is. I said as much in my 2008 review, you see there in annotation. Decent blade steel, G10 handles, fast deployment, solid lockup, good clip. A little bit on the heavy side, but a lot of guys don't care about that. But by all accounts, a home run for Spyderco. And this was kind of made evident in their catalog before we were able to get our hands on a Tenacious, just going down the specs. The specs were decent. It looked like a very high value tactical, maybe more likely an EDC blade choice. And sure enough, that's exactly what the Tenacious has turned out to be. In the websites that I go to, specifically yourcornerstore.com, this thing is either sold out a lot or it's in the top 10 of sales, probably the top 5, and it's been that way for the past year. That's how well, at least at that particular website, the Tenacious appears to be selling. That's because it's high value. For around, I don't know, 40 bucks, actually less than that, I'm sorry, 28 bucks, give or take a little bit, you're getting a superb knife. However, a lot of guys will still say the Tenacious is a little too big. Well, the good news is it's been shrunk, and now we have the little brother to the Tenacious in 2009, the Spyderco Persistence. Here it is. It's just a slightly shrunk Tenacious, and it has all the great features of its bigger brother. First and foremost, those G10 scales. Now, like I said in some other vids, there are different levels of quality when we talk about G10. To me, quality is the amount of purchase it affords the skin. In other words, does it really provide a lot of traction? I would say the Tenacious scales are imported, probably medium quality level. But still, they're G10, they're good looking, they're warm to the touch, they're not stainless steel. I am not a fan of stainless steel handled knives for that exact reason. Hot in the summer, cold in the winter. A lot of extra weight added to the loadout of the knife, whichever role you're going to put it in. The POU of this knife, in the background, Big Brother Tenacious, can flex either to EDC, which I think most dudes are using it in, or folding tactical blade as well. And when we say tactical blade, I know that's a dirty word with some people, but to me it says exactly what we're trying to say, that it is a knife that we can employ in an emergency defensive way. The Tenacious could do that. However, the little brother here, the Persistence, is purely an EDC blade, if you ask me. The weight, surprisingly, too, between these blades, you would think it'd be a lot. Assuming my scale was right, it's almost identical. I don't know if, 4 ounces, 3.7 ounces on this one. Maybe 3.8. I got 2 different readings. But, man, that's very similar. And yet the blade sizes are different. Love the lockup of these knives, how they come out. You can see that, yeah, the Persistence on the top now is stubbier, smaller. I've said this in a lot of videos. If I'm going to use my folding knife for EDC use every day, I like the shorter blades. Now, I don't like a big old long blade. I'm not saying the Tenacious is too big. It's plenty useful in the EDC role, at least according to my experience. But I think a smaller blade is more maneuverable. You get more precise cutting in your daily cutting tasks that you're faced with. And we're just talking, like food preparation, opening packages, cutting rope, string, whatever. I like the little blades. They're nice. And therefore, to me, the Persistence might be a better EDC blade. And it still retains all the high value of the Tenacious. Basically the same price point. The prices always are according to, will change, and I hate to state them, but sometimes I will, around the $30 mark for this. Again, as of 2009, if you can find it at yourcornerstore.com, for my US viewers, he has the cheapest prices around. That's been that way. I just spent an hour today surfing around, looking at prices at different websites. To this day, he blows everybody away. I'm talking like substantially. Like this knife being $10 cheaper than any other website I could find. So call me crazy. I like sending you guys to places where you save money and get the same high quality gear. Again, that's a snapshot in time. Things may change, and I may have a different supplier or something like that. But I'm all about getting you guys good gear for cheap and persistence is good gear. Has the same size deployment hole as a Tenacious, which I like. I like a big old deployment hole. I don't like milled out grooves. I either like a nice big old thumb stud or a big deployment hole that I can put the fat of my thumb in there to get a real good purchase on it. Here's some good news too about the persistence. Let me go back in time a little bit for you guys that might be new in the Nutnfancy project. This knife cut me bad. Way bad. As you can see there, a big old chunk of meat taken out of my hand by the Tenacious. And that was because this knife was in a fanny pack riding upside down, and its in-handle retention sucks. Least of this version of the Tenacious. I'll get to some updates perhaps here in a second. And what happened is just in movement, in transit, the blade popped open like that. So when I went to go retrieve, I don't forget what it was, keys, wallet, my hand came in and basically shaved off a chunk of meat with this very sharp Tenacious. I had touched it up to make it sharper than it came from the box, but yeah, you see it there. The scar's healed up nicely, thank you very much. Still a scar. I think scars are cool. Yeah, if you handle knives enough, you're going to get cut. That's just the way it is. Cut cutlery lover, too. So he and I both, are victims of the blood drawing by Mr. Tenacious here. Hilarious. The good news is this. The persistence has better in-handle retention than this particular Tenacious of mine. And I hope they watched that video. They probably did. Hello, Spyderco. How you doing? They probably said, you know what, we need to increase the ball detent on the in-handle retention so, Mr. Tenacious doesn't shake out. It's not horrible. Like I said, I don't really fault the knife. It was more the orientation it was being carried. If you carry it vertically, as noted by the clip here, I don't think you're going to have a problem. But I like the in-handle retention better. The ball detent is a little bit more secure on Little Brother. Much nicer. Yet it does not hamper a quick and fast deployment. By the way, lockup, nice and solid. Like a floor vault, very nice. Dig it. And for this price point, that's amazing. Maybe not amazing. Maybe that's the wrong word. Because we're living in 2009. We've seen a lot of great high-value knives come our way. Let's roll some in right now because they'll compete against persistence maybe for your limited dollars. And here are some other options if this one does not strike your fancy. First off, the previously reviewed Kershaw Skyline. One of my all-time favorite EDC blades, and it has not changed. Why? Well, lots of reasons. 2.4 ounces, the Skyline Model 1760. What a great knife, that, 2.4 ounces? It's got a hollow ground spear point blade. I want to just wax prophetic in the details of this knife. I can't do that. I've been carrying this knife a lot, using it a lot because I just love it. Sticks out of the pocket a little far. Very fast deploying though, and that kind of drives to the point I was making earlier. It's not amazing at this price point anymore to get a blade that comes out fast and locks up solidly. You should expect it actually, but these are all high value, and this one's foreign produced, is a Chinese produced blade. Super quality controls, of course. But the Kershaw Skyline, it's just like, what a great blade. Also, you've seen it lots of times. Mr. Cold Steel, medium Voyager, plain edge variety, wearing the Nutnfancy epoxy under the clip modification so it doesn't shred your pocket. Great blade, this one too. And it's even lighter still, 1.8 ounces. It's hovering around the $40 price point. By the way, the Skyline around the $30 price point, same as the Persistence. But some guys won't dig the Zytel. They don't like it. They think it's cheap, whatever. They want a heavier knife. Me, I like the lighter blades, especially when it comes to EDC. And it doesn't mean I won't carry heavier blades. And I've been carrying this Persistence a lot, at least for the last 3 weeks. And I've dug it. I mean, yeah. What is it? Around 3.8 ounces, 3.7 ounces. It's not a pocket ripper. Like I've said in other vids, I'm really concerned about weight when I'm carrying a lot more than just one EDC blade. Depending on what my system is, like, guns, ammunition, optics, communications, body armor, that's when I'm going to opt for a lighter weight blade. When I'm really watching all my ounces, because they very quickly add up into pounds, many pounds. So that's an option. I still love this knife, the Cold Steel Voyager, medium and large size. And then also, previously reviewed, everything I'm showing you here I've reviewed and have bids on. The Energy G10 1740. Love this knife. This is a great EDC blade. 2.2 ounces, so it's going to blow away the persistence in terms of weight, but it's really a different flavor altogether, don't you think? I mean, you can tell the differences in the blade shapes. On the top, you have that big old leaf drop point of the persistence, which it inherits from its big brother, the Tenacious. And between these two, here I am going to get real with you guys. For EDCing, I like the narrower blade better. I think it cuts better. It's easier to do food preparation with it. I do like it. That's not to say this wider plan form of the Persistence and the Tenacious isn't effective. It is. And it's full flat ground, and you guys know how I feel about full flat ground blades. I love them. This one, on the other hand, the 1740, hollow ground. And it's a flipper design, liner lock. Great blade. I just love this Energy. The larger Energy I'm not quite as excited about, by Kershaw. It's a heavier knife, very good looking, just a little bit heavier. This one is so lightweight, and it is a G10 handle too, just like the Persistence in the background. More expensive though, by about $20. This is going to hover around the $50 to $50 or $55 price point. Great blade though. It's an option. How about the Nutnfancy 3 Spyderco? I want to roll this in because I don't want you guys to forget about it. And forget the fact that I deem it one of the best EDC blades ever known to mankind. And nothing has changed that. The Nutnfancy 3 by Spyderco. Whoa, I love this knife. Yeah, it's pin construction, Zytel handle, no goofy steel liners to ruin its carry weight, which is only 2.6 ounces. And when I bought this knife, $41. So it is realistic to roll it in against the Tenacious and the Persistence in terms of value. I will say that I've seen the price on this little knife go up a lot. Don't know why. And it's a lockback. For guys that do not trust the liner lock mechanism, lockback, Nutnfancy, and look at that VG10 narrow blade. Outstanding jimping and thumb ramp. Lock in, nice control. Oh, man, I just get excited when I play with the Nutnfancy 3. Just awesome. I mean, it's fast. I could just make the whole video all over again. Great blade though, and it stacks up, in my opinion, actually a little bit better than the Persistence in terms of weight. Not speed though. They're both fast. They both lock up tight. But let's talk about looks. Some guys will really dig the looks of, not some, a lot of guys will, and that's been borne out again by the sales of the Tenacious. They just rock. A lot of dudes love that wide blade. And this also, both of these knives have that very effective thumb ramp with very effective jimping. Thank you, Spyderco. You know, for once, not for once, Spyderco usually gets those features right. Some don't, as we've seen in our knife vids, but this one does. The blade is very nice. Full flat ground, I think I said that already. The finish on it is just like Mr. Tenacious. Satin finished with the logo on there. Chinese made. Good quality. There's your liner lock. Identical to the Tenacious. And I think it functions perfectly in roll. Strong enough for anything you would realistically do with this knife, I say. Bolt together construction with mini torque screws, and it's pillar construction. Again, pillar means that it's just total flow through, so you're not going to have any gunk coagulating in the back of the knife. Here comes a Delica 3 by way of example. Love the Delica 3, by the way, but it's a closed design, Zytel. So you can get lint or whatever inside there. You might have to blow it out with compressed air once in a while. Not a big deal. The Delica 3, by the way, outstanding competitor against maybe the Persistence. And it's a stablemate, also made by Spyderco. It's going to be more expensive. In the day, I spent around $40 for this one. I think now they go for a little bit more. 2.2, actually 2.0 ounces for the Delica 3. The Delica 4 with its steel liners, which I deem unnecessary, 2.6 ounces. All lighter than this knife. But this, in a lot of people's minds, will be a heavy-duty EDC blade. It'll just be able to withstand torsional load side to side a little bit better because it has skeletonized, I don't know if you can see it, yeah you can, skeletonized liners in there of steel. And a lot of guys love that. To them, it's a more solid knife. It feels better in hand. It's more substantial, and that's what they want. And there we see again the excellent way that Spyderco takes care of its customers, drilling out all 4 positionable corners so you can put the clip anywhere you need to. If you're left or right-handed, this knife will accommodate it just fine. There's that clip I've talked about many times before. No big issues with it. Maybe sticks out a little bit far right here. I would like perhaps a little lower profile clip so it doesn't grab onto stuff. I have noted it will do that if you're not careful. A polished variety too, which is goes very well thematically with the Persistence. If you ever need to, you can adjust that pivot point. You shouldn't have to, because like I said, no play side to side at all in the Persistence. And yes, I do think it is a little bit better choice than the Tenacious for EDC. So just like the Tenacious, it is adjustable in this pivot point should you need to do it. Again, Loctite that, like I've said many times. But it's very tight as it comes out of the box. Good belly on that blade too. And the point is adequately strong for opening packages, piercing stuff, at least in my experience. Love it. A good test, by the way, for your EDC blade to see if it functions for a lot of the tasks is peeling a vegetable, or maybe an apple, or better yet, a tomato. Taking the skin off a tomato, I think that tests a blade very well. Getting back to the Kershaw 1740, the Energy, this one excels at it. Partially because it's hollow ground. Very thin edge on that, also hollow grinding. In that food preparation task, the 1740 excels. The Tenacious is a little bit less elegant, and the Persistence, since they share the same blade design, in doing just such a task. It just is. Now, while normally I say I want a full flat grind, if I'm using it for a lot of food preparation, I kind of like the hollow grinding a little bit better. But all around, for utility tasks, camp tasks, or some heavy duty cutting tasks, I'll stick with the inelegance of the full flat grind for food prep and just deal with it. And it might not be a function of the grind, it's more of a function of the width of the blade too, honestly, because as we come in and do that food prep, at least in the manner I was talking about, a little narrower blade like that functions just a bit better. Great value though. $28 is the lowest price I saw. That was at ycs.com for the Persistence. Call him up, say, dude, order some more. He's probably sold out. If he isn't, he will be shortly after this review. It is an outstanding high value EDC blade, and it really rounds out the Spyderco Tenacious, which is kind of able to flex into the tactical folding roll as well. Great blades, great fit and finish for what you're getting, and G10 handles to boot, pillar construction. What's not to like? Pretty much nothing in these blades. Nutnfancy signing off, cranking out the vids for you as fast as I can with my schedule. See ya!